today we have Kaylia Metcalfe, and we are very lucky to have her here. And we're going to talk with her about her college major. Welcome, Kaylia.
Thank you. Hello.
What did you major in college?
Well, ultimately, I got a degree in creative writing with an emphasis in postmodern deconstructionist feminist theory. Or in short terms, I was an English major.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
It is. It's a lot of fun to say at parties. By the way, what did you study in college? Oh, creative writing and postmodern deconstructionist feminist theory. I also have an associate's degree in sociology with an emphasis on gender role relations. How about you? Yes.
So why did you choose your major or majors?
Well, originally, when I was quite young, my parents sat down and they thought, she likes to be the center of attention. She likes to read, and she's very bossy. She'll be a teacher. Okay, so from about the age of 7 or 8, it was just decided that I would someday be a teacher, probably an English teacher, because that was my strength. And that was just all there was to it. Well, okay, fine. So I got into college, and I looked around and thought, I don't want to be a teacher. This looks like a horrible job. There's all these students, and they judge you, and they could be mean, and you have to know all this stuff, and what if you get challenged, and oh, no. And I'm not the world's most patient person, so I was thinking, no, I don't want to have to teach anybody anything. This is not for me. So I was an English major at first, but then I switched over and I became a sociology major, and I loved sociology. Sociology was great. The study of people in groups, and how they interact with each other and how they interact with their world, and there's all these different little facets of it. You've got the sociology of ethnic groups, and you've got the sociology of gender role relations, which I really found, and human sexuality is kind of some ways involved with sociology, which I also really liked. Okay, gender role relations, sociology. I have an associate's degree. What am I going to do with that? I have no idea. What do you do with that? Well, they tell me, you teach! Oh, hell to the no. Okay, time to change majors. I'm going to go a completely different route. I'm going to be a business major. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I was a business major for 1 semester. That was awful. I did really good in the business communications class. You got to make a speech, you got to talk, you got to manage small groups of people. Not a problem. Again, bossy and likes to be in front of people, so not a problem. But the business aspect, no. So let's change majors again. Let's be a film major.
Ah.
Yes, that's exciting. I could direct things, and again, I get to be bossy, and I get to be in charge, but I get to be organized. I had a lot of fun being a film major. I made a couple short student films. I made a longer student film. It's like a full 1 hour and 45 minute with a soundtrack movie. I did some PSAs. But what I found I really liked was the class where it was writing for film and television. So you're writing, these story arcs and learning about, the different beats in a sitcom versus the different beats in a drama series, and how that's changed over time. And the TV from the 70s is very different from the TV in the 90s, and, how character tropes and all of this. That was fascinating. But I realized it's the writing that I like. Oh. Well, maybe I should re-explore that English stuff. But I really don't want to be a teacher. So at this point, I realized that the English majors broke into 2 categories. Those who were going to teach and those who wanted to write. I was definitely in those who wanted to write. I'd always been writing. I've been writing short stories. I've been writing poems. I've been published at this point already. And I was like, okay, I'll go back to being an English major. As long as I don't have to take any of those teacher prep classes, I'll be fine. And so I did. I studied English, and I took a lot of women's studies classes as well. And so then they kind of went over into each other, and postmodern feminist, and there you go. And then I got out of college, and I was like, now what do I do? Oh, I guess I'll be an administrative assistant. Hooray! And there you go.
Yes, indeed. So what are you doing with your major currently in your life? How is that applying?
Well, with my background of English and writing and understanding how grammar works and how to punctuate, I actually do a lot of freelance writing. So I write on a couple of blogs, I write for a couple of publications, I've written on past publications, I do some grant writing. So I actually do use my writing skills a lot in my current life, which is nice. I'm writing a novel, all of these things, they're very writing driven. I've led workshops. I've taught, how to write a good short story and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm definitely using them. As for the gender role relations from the sociology, I use that also. I'm a community organizer, and right now I work with the LGBT community. I used to work with Big Brothers Big Sisters and doing more children advocacy. But now in the LGBT community, it's a lot of gender politics and a lot of people getting together and figuring out how they can communicate with one another. And so leading groups and being able to work with the public in that kind of capacity. I definitely feel like I'm using my majors, for sure.
What would you still like to do that you haven't done that relates back to your major?
I'd really like to finish the novel that I'm writing and see it published. That would be pretty darn awesome. I'd like to make money off of the freelance writing. A lot of the freelance writing I do right now is, resume building, and then grant writing is, resume building. And, a lot of the writing in the groups that I do and in the teaching and stuff is resume building. My resume is awesome. But I haven't gotten paid in several years for this. It's all been volunteer, which is great. And I like the experience, and I've learned a lot about it. And, basically the different types of writing, you have like the news types, and then you have the event coverage, and then you have the op-eds. And they're all very different in tone and in style. So I'm definitely getting a lot out of it. But it would be really nice to actually make money and to be able to bring money in and be able to do it as an actual job. So, yeah.
Are there times when you wish you had chosen a different major?
I've thought about that a lot over the years. There's always those questions at the parties. If you could go back and relive your life, what would you change? And I think about, it would have been really nice if I'd gotten a major where I would have consistent work and I wouldn't have to bounce around. I did the administrative assistant thing for a while. I really liked that because I'm organized and I like, feeling essential and part of things. And then I got into the nonprofit world, and I thrive in the nonprofit world. I love it. I love almost every aspect about working with a nonprofit. And so I'm not really sure. There could have been I could have taken social work and stuff that would have made me a little bit better suited. But considering that what my life really is all about writing, I think I did the right choice. I don't think that I would go back and get a different degree unless maybe I could find some magical degree that would have, guaranteed me employment while being able to write, but I don't really see that happening. So no, I'm pretty pleased, actually. And it's taken me a long time to get to this point. I was pretty begrudging of my liberal arts degree for a number of years, thinking I'm qualified for nothing, do you want fries with that, but no, McDonald's won't even hire you unless you're pretty well versed in Spanish and here in California, and I'm not. So, it was very much of a struggle, but I feel like I finally have found my niche and I'm working towards some attainable goals. So, yeah, I'm pretty pleased now.
What would you say the value of a liberal arts major is? When do you think it's relevant in the 21st century?
I do think it's relevant. I think as we move increasingly towards written communications with social media and the way we interact with our world, I think that having an understanding, not just of writing, and okay, I'm soapbox here, but people learn how to punctuate. Grammar, it's important, and spelling matters. Okay, anyways.
Thank you.
Yes. That was when I was dating, I would weed people out, whether or not they knew how to punctuate, they could spell, or, understood the finer points of grammar. Not that, you can't ever end a sentence with a preposition, but my goodness, you need to know the difference between you are and your and your. You know what I mean? Like, these are, okay, or the theirs and theirs and theirs. Okay.
I do know what you mean.
Anyways, so yeah, I think that this is very important, and I think that is something. But beyond that, in liberal arts, you have the humanities, and I think that as our society is becoming more globalized and you're getting this multiculturalism, I think it's really important to look back on the humanities and take lessons from them and learn and say, okay, these groups work together, these empires did this, and what can we learn from that? How can we make good decisions in our future about how we interact with people who are different from us? That they still have intrinsic value just because they're different than us and they walk a different path or they have different morals doesn't mean that their morality isn't as good as ours. And I think that there's an element of critical thinking that it can be found in liberal arts. It's often found in the hard sciences, for sure. But I think that there is an element of critical thinking that can be found in liberal arts, in understanding the symbolism and understanding the metaphor of things. And if you put that into practical use in your life, I think it makes people and better able to communicate with each other and work together in teams. So I definitely do see intrinsic value in a liberal arts degree. But again, I think that any kind of degree, you're going to get as much out of it as what you put into it. So if you're just showing up to get the grade, to get the letter, to get the diploma at the end, then you're not really getting educated. And I think that that's a big distinction.
This has been very insightful. Is there anything else you'd like to add on the topic?
No, not really.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you so much for being here for this interview. And I had other questions, but I think they're redundant. How has your major helped you? But that kind of went with what are you doing with your major in your life right now? It almost was redundant of that.
Well, I can say that I have gotten jobs even as just an administrative assistant because of my background in English, because they knew that if they needed help proofreading something or editing something, they could just secretly add that into my job requirement. And so I've had several jobs, and I won't name names because I'm nice, but I've had several jobs where my boss or my executive director or my whoever person high up would write these emails and then bring them to me and say, did I do this right? Is this grammar okay? What do you think of this? And been responsible to making sure that the communications with our clients or our supporters or our whoever's was on par of where they needed to be, because a lot of people just don't know that. So even though I wasn't working for several years in any field that's really related, and you could think anybody could be an admin assistant, not true, by the way, or working in marketing and advertising, I did that too for a while. What put me ahead of people who had business degrees or who had communication degrees was my English degree, for sure. So it's definitely helped me. It's definitely opened several doors. Okay.
So I think that completes our interview. Hurrah!
Yes, don't listen to your parents. Go to school and get whatever degree you want.
Good advice. Excellent
Even if
advice.
the degree you get is the one your parents wanted you to get originally. But with a twist.
That's right.